What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. For those of you guys that are new here, my name is Fett. I play the mobile game Rise of Kingdoms on Apple and Android. It is a war game that you play with friends where you build up your city, build up your armies, and fight other players in events like KVK, Ark of Osiris, and the new game mode Champions of Olympia. I've got an exciting video here tonight where I max a brand new Cavalry Commander. His name is Xiang Yu, or better known as XY among the rock community. If you guys haven't seen this game, or if you've been playing for a while and you like content about Rise of Kingdoms, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I love putting out content to show you guys how I play in my account, in my alliance, and in my kingdom 1846. All right, guys, so the first thing we are doing tonight was I had to schedule to do some field testing with this commander. So the first thing I had to do was max him. So that's what I'm doing now. On the screen, what you see, this was a few nights ago. I did have to schedule a few things to get some other testing done before I made this video. But as you can see, I am dumping the sculptures in. I am getting him maxed. I had to take him right here from level 20 to level 30. And I am getting him done as fast as I possibly can. I wanted to do testing with everything that I had, but I do not yet have Chandragupta, so he's not maxed for me yet, and also William, which turned out to be very, very important for this video. Don't have either of those guys maxed. I also don't have Khan. If you guys have watched a lot of my videos, my account is relatively newer to the people that I play with, so I've had to go for a lot of the newer OP commanders, and I never got Khan. I never had him. I finally just got Saladin. He's not even fully maxed, but he is fighting worthy. He's a 5551. And when I got Saladin, I decided, okay, this might be a good opportunity to just push a little harder for some CAV in my account. So XY came out, and I was really, really excited about what he looked like he could do rally-wise. And from the other videos that I've watched, him and Chandragupta seem to be the answer to Zenobia. At least if you cannot get an archer rally in there. Archers are always going to be better against infantry, obviously, but this one seemed to do pretty well against Zenobia, comparatively speaking to, the Attila Takeda or anything else that we've seen. However, I didn't want to invest in a commander just to do rallies with, right? So this is a brand new OP commander. I wanted to see who the best pairing was going to be in the field for him. And like I said, I don't have all the CAV commanders, so I needed to schedule some time with other players in my kingdom. I went ahead and scheduled time with Diesel, who has been on some of my videos and who I talk about all the time. He is a great friend in real life and who got me into the game Rise of Kingdoms. Then I also got Yuda, who's in 1846 and in Lighted Up as well. And he is an all CAV player. I mean, he's got like 3.5 million T5 CAV. He has, he fields 5 CAV marches for like Ark or KVK or whatever it is. And so I got him on as well because I needed some of his commanders to see how they did. As you see here, I am going through what talents I want to put on him. I knew for sure I wanted to max out the skill tree. I love the skill tree, huge fan of it. I do everything in the skill tree except for the bottom left one, which basically increases the skill damage done, but also increases skill damage taken. I'm not a huge fan of that one. Plus, you don't really need that extra boost with commanders like XY YSG or any huge skill commander or skill damage commander. So I don't do that one, but I do every other one in the skill tree. XY has a low rage requirement. If you see my other video where I review him and I spin the wheel, his rage requirement's really, really low. So I wanted to get rage engine on him. So I did a little bit of the CAV tree as well. Specifically that far left one that boosts rage generation. I want his skill popping off left and right all the time. Then I kind of debate here for a while. And what I end up doing is going a little bit into the conquering tree. So I do the first 2 levels there, and then I add in the bottom couple skills as well. And so for testing, I started with Diesel, and I did everything that I had, and then we switched over to Yuda, and he did everything he had. I wanted to be best of class, so I told Diesel, put your best infantry stuff on. I'll put my best CAV stuff on. Let's test it that way and see how it goes. Diesel does have a full Eternal Empire set, and I've got this full Hellish Wasteland. So this is a legendary set versus a legendary set, and then we're testing for what's going to be the field. Another thing that I did here that may seem a little weird, I didn't test it against anything except infantry. The reason for that is I figured, look, if you're hitting archers, it's like a no-brainer that, you know, it's going to work out fine. The pairing isn't necessarily, you know, that important if you're going to be hitting an archer march. I mean, obviously we want to know what the best is. However, I wanted to know in the hardest situations what I needed to have on the field. So all I did was infantry, right? The troop type that counters CAV is infantry. So that's what I wanted to do. I sent only CAV at only infantry marches. What we did as well is his best, Diesel's best CAV, our infantry marches, which are going to be Guan Alex and Richard Charles. So we wanted to know, you know, okay, if you're in the field and you see a damage doer, you know, some sort of cannon, what are you going to want to hit it with? Are you going to want to hit it with this commander or that commander? So the Guan Alex from Diesel here is what we kind of used as the cannon. Then we had the Rock, which was the Richard Charles. So we wanted to know, okay, can we really hit a Richard Charles here, and how's that going to go if we do it with this? As always, guys, this is, you know, needs to be taken with a grain of salt, because you're going to have most of your marches out at one time. You're rarely going to fight one-on-one with people. And in those kind of situations, like a kill event or something, it doesn't really matter because you're going for the kill points anyways. So this needs to be taken with a grain of salt, but I wanted to know, okay, out of my commanders, who should I pair this guy with? So what's going to happen is on the background here, I will just have some field fighting just to show you guys. But what I'm going to do is also throw up these reports to show you kind of what we saw and what we kind of concluded. I will have a probably top 5 ranking at the end of this, just to give you guys my opinion down to the top 5. I'd like to give it a little bit of depth because not all of us are going to have every CAV commander that could be paired here. So I wanted to make sure that I can do the top 5 for you guys. So if you do have one of the top 5, you can at least make that work if you wanted to go ahead and get the new Commander XY. So the first thing that I will put up, which is a pretty obvious one, what we saw in some other videos from like Chisgul and people like that, I think John Wick threw some stuff up as well, was a Attila. And so let me get this one pulled up for you guys. Okay. So side by side here, we've got the 2 Attila marches. Okay, there we go. So what we're looking at here is he does obviously a lot better versus the Guan. Most of these went that way for the most part. Some of them, you know, went well both. But pretty much always Guan Alex was weaker to Richard Charles when we were doing this testing. However, as you can see, he did pretty good against the Guan Alex, but he got pretty much wrecked against the Richard Charles. So this isn't going to be something that you really want to hit a Richard Charles with. But if you do see a Guan Alex out there or a Guan Leo, you could probably take an XY Attila at this. This isn't something that I'd recommend though. It will be on. It does make the list at the end here, but it's definitely not something that I would choose first. There's a pretty surprising better option than this, and we'll talk about that one in a second. So the next one we want to talk about, just real quick, just to kind of move on from this, is the XY CC versus Guan. As you can see here, just got wrecked. You know, we didn't even test this one with Richard because we didn't see, you know, if he got beat this bad against a Guan, what would it be against a Richard? So CC was good because he did a little bit of healing, but he didn't do enough where it made an actual difference, and his skill damage just isn't quite enough. So XYCC, not that great. Probably not going to do any of that. And then we had, let's take a look here at Takeda, because you're thinking, okay, you know, XY does a lot of skill damage. He is a little weak. Maybe he could use some tankiness with him. I kind of have the same thought process. So here's XY Takeda 1, and here is X. There we go. Okay, so XY Takeda versus Guan Leo. And so I mean, he just got wrecked on this one too. He just didn't tank up enough, and he did not do enough damage. The healing was really, really great, so it helped out a lot, but he just didn't do enough damage. I mean, if you look at the severely wounded there, it's not a whole lot. The Xiang Yu still won. Xiang Alex still won right here. The healing really, really helped, but it just simply wasn't enough, and we did not do enough damage in this one to make it impactful. Saladin was another one, so let's take the Saladin there, Saladin there. All right, so these two. So again, there just wasn't a whole lot of damage done here. He definitely did a lot more against the Richard Charles, because obviously with the healing reduction and the defense reduction, it helps a lot to do more damage. Against the Xiang Yu, he got lit up, so this did not work at all. So the XY Saladin, not a good idea against the Xiang or any sort of high damage infantry march. But against the Richard, it was okay. It was definitely better than the Xiang. But again, the healing from Richard is just so ridiculous regardless that you need to be doing more damage than, you know, the XY Saladin was doing. So this one was decent, but just wasn't really what we were looking for out of this. So we didn't like this one that much either. So the best pair, right, for rallies is what we've seen in other videos with Chandra. Here's the Chandra one. We didn't do it with Richard, but as you can see, this was interesting because in a rally setting, the XY Chandra does well against the Zenobia. But against this Xiang Alex right here, it actually did pretty bad. So, you know, I'm not sure if there just wasn't enough time or not enough skill popping or whatever it might have been. Maybe it's a better attack against a specific Zenobia. But it was quite interesting to see that this didn't do as good as it looked like it does within a rally. We've seen a ton of tests where rallies, this is the best way to go. But Chandra actually probably is the primary most of the time in the rallies. But we were a little thrown off by this. I mean, 16,000 left here for the Xiang Alex. We expected this to be up there with some of the other ones, and it really just wasn't. All right. And here's one that was a big, big, big surprise. So let me throw both of these up. All right. Believe it or not, guys, Minamoto. So take a look at some of these reports. I mean, look at the Xiang. He barely lost against the Xiang. I mean, he lost pretty good against the Richard Charles, but he did a ton of damage. The XY Moto, guys, was extremely good. We had no idea this was going to be the case. I mean, this was actually the first one that we did. We were kind of joking around. Look at these reports. I mean, for the XY Moto versus Richard Charles, 8,300 severely wounded for Richard Charles, 9,800 for XY Moto. Pretty good. Obviously up there's no healing, so you know, we took a lot of damage in that one, but we also did a ton of damage to the Richard Charles as well, which is great. Didn't win the battle. As against infantry, it's going to be tough, but this is really good. And then again over here against the Xiang Alex, 5,800 for Xiang Alex, and then 6,700 for us. So that was almost even. We almost won that. Again, Moto's like almost irrelevant in this game because he's so old, but this was a pretty good pair, believe it or not. We like this one a lot. Super surprising as well. Okay, let's go to Khan. All right, so here are the Khan ones, which these were also pretty good as well. We noticed something pretty interesting about this one, though. Check out the Xiang Alex versus the XY Khan. Got wrecked. We thought, based on how Minamoto did, that the Khan would be really, really good against the Xiang, but it actually wasn't because of the silence that Xiang does. That chance of doing the additional skill damage, the active skill damage from Genghis Khan, is so important to being a good commander, a good march against the Xiang, that the silence absolutely kills it. So that was a lot less than we expected, but if you take a look over here at Richard Charles, ton of damage, ton of damage, and it actually won. against this one. So if you look at that, that's really, really impressive, and it shows how important Khan's skill is to get that chance to double hit his active skill. He won against the Richard Charles. So if you are, if you've got a Khan and you're kind of debating, I kind of like XY, maybe I would get him, but I'm not sure who I would put him with because I don't have a lot of CAV. This was pretty good. We like this one a lot. If you see a cannon in the field, an infantry cannon like a Guan Alex or a Guan Leo, probably don't hit it. But if you see one of these tanky marches that thinks that they're, impervious to CAV, nope, you can hit them. You can hit them with this because they don't silence you. You can take them down. You do a ton of damage. Even with all that healing from Richard, 25,500 healing, you still won that battle. That's a good one right there. And then this one was really, really good. Where are we at here? William. All right, guys. So take a look at this one. Right? Very, very interesting. It takes down the Richard. Or excuse me, it takes down the Guan quite nicely. 14,300 remaining for the XY William. And for the Richard Charles, he loses that one, but not by a whole lot. Does a ton of damage, absolute ton of damage on this one. So this is gonna be probably the best field pair for you guys. I'll kind of give you a list here in a moment that shows you what I think 1 through 5 should be. But as you can see here, I mean, he destroys this Guan Alex right here. So for Guan Leo, it'd probably be pretty similar. And then he doesn't win against the Richard Charles, but he barely loses, and not only that, but does so much damage. I mean, the severely wounded is one of the highest for the Richard Charles, especially relative to how much damage it took, the XY William took. So that's a really, really, really good field march, guys. Again, this one was definitely the best. I don't want to say that it was by far, because as you can see here, and if you look at some of the other reports I put up previously in the video, it's kind of similar to some of the other reports, especially this Richard Charles one. But overall, this was the best result that we got with the field testing. And so, yeah, guys, what I'm going to say here is my top 5. So it's going to be definitely going to be the XY William for the fields. By far the best. Or I should, again, not going to say by far, but the easiest kind of choice to be your best pair. William is obviously not that common for people to have those. So that's kind of a rare one. But if you do have William, XY William in the field is going to be your best bet. Secondly, it's going to come down to Khan or Moto. It depends who you're fighting. And so for that, we're going to give them a tie in second and third. So if you're fighting a Guan, it's not going to be your best. It's not going to be Khan. Your best march against a Guan Alex or Guan Leo is actually going to be XY Moto, which is pretty interesting. Again, not what we expected. We had no idea that Moto would come out so strong, but he does a lot of normal attack damage. He does a great amount of skill damage. He does his skill damage over time, which helps combats against a Guan silence. So again, they're a nice tie for second, guys, which is pretty weird because they're older commanders. Not what we expected at all. Khan and Moto being a really, really good pair for these guys. In a third or fourth, if we did a tie for second, okay, we're looking at third now. Third's a little tough as well, but I'm going to say that Chandra was probably a better match than Attila. Attila is just, I mean, he's a great commander, right? But he's so geared towards normal attack damage that he just didn't really do as well as some of the skill damage commanders. When you're going to go up against the march that you otherwise wouldn't, like an infantry march, a good one, you want to do as much damage as possible before you go down, unless you can win. Of course, with some of these commanders, we did see some wins. This one's really, really close, but I'm going to go ahead and give the third spot to Chandra and the fourth spot to Attila. Then after that, the fifth spot's got to go to That's tough. I mean, Saladin, just because I guess it saved you some. I mean, you did a little extra damage here and there, but that's where it starts to get murky, guys. I mean, those commanders right there are really the ones that if you have, you're going to be able to make this work. But a clear best here, not by a lot, but definitely a clear best was William. Then if you've got a Khan or a Moto, that'd be a nice second commander to pair here with XY in the field. And then a close third and fourth are going to be your Chandra and then your Attila. So those are all going to be good. But again, the Attila is a little questionable too, because like if you've got an Attila, you probably have a Takeda. Why would you do that? Just put Attila Takeda together. Which was kind of nice about, one thing that was nice about all this was we can use old commanders to pair here with XY and get a pretty good result when we're fighting. So that was nice and a good thing that we found in all this testing, guys. So that is my ranking. So first, William. Tied for second is Khan and Moto. Tied for third is Chandra. Or sorry, third is Chandra, and then fourth is Attila. Fifth, take your pick. It's not going to be good. It's really not going to be worth it, guys. If you don't have any of those commanders to pair with XY, probably don't go for XY, but I'm guessing most of us are going to have a Moto or a Khan, which is great, because that means if you guys want to get XY, you can most likely make this work on the field at a minimum. All right, guys, so that was my review of who to pair XY, the new CAV commander, with in the field based on the testing we did. If you guys did any testing about this, go ahead and drop a comment below and let me know what you think about my review of who to pair this guy with in the field. If you guys haven't yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I love putting out content like this. Like the video if you think I'm on with my analysis. Leave a comment if you think I'm off. Need to know if I'm putting out good, valuable stuff for you guys, and really appreciate all the time that everybody gave in tuning in tonight. As always, have a great evening, guys. We'll see you on the next video.